Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? I'm Enrique, and this is Easy Things to Draw. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Today I'm going to go over how to draw different types of eyes, a bit more about like learning, different eye types, things of that sort. This is not a specifically how to draw eye video, but I will go over some basics on the eye just to kind of review. There's a whole other video for that, and I'll link it in the description below. But right now, this is how to draw kind of different types of eyes. Oh, if you guys like learning how to draw, very, very basic things to some intermediate things to even art advice I'd give you, any of that stuff, art discussions, I even revamp some goofy drawings my cousin did, who's like doesn't know how to draw at all, was like a little kid. I revamp them and make them cool. If you guys like any of that, click the bell icon. Click the subscribe button and then the bell icon. The bell icon is going to give you a reminder for when I upload the video. Otherwise, I won't even tell you when I upload the video, which is weird, right? Even if you subscribe. So I'm going to leave a click for that. I'm going to leave a link for subscribing as well in the description. So let's get into that. Let's go over the basics of an eye really quick, just to review. So if you're looking at an eye, the eyeball itself is actually inside the eye cavity. Kind of understand the spherical element of the eye, understanding that believe it or not, people just forget it's a freaking ball. And skin wraps around that. When you kind of understand that stuff, your drawings will become a little bit more dimensional for the eye. They won't become as, I don't know how to say it, just as flat. Just kind of understanding that it puts a little bit more curve when you do stuff. So really, it's kind of just essentially skin kind of on that, and that is all encased within the eye cavity, right? That eye cavity itself, is in the skull. In terms of just the eye on a superficial level, like looking at it from the outside, you can actually break it down if it was a polygon with these two little peaks. Let's just say the other eye's over here somewhere. We're looking at one eye specifically right now. You have the point on the top toward the nose, going down, and then you have a point right here, kind of on the outer end, on the outer side of the head. And then you have the eyeball. You have the iris and pupil along that area. That's if you simplify it down. So if you simplify that down, I want to make sure this is on camera. If you simplify that down, those become organic, but those peaks slightly exist, right? But it becomes kind of an organic form. This is all for a very general eye. So kind of understand that. It's just really quick review. I apologize if this is too fast. Like I said, there is a whole other video concentrating on these ideas. And one last thing I'll give. If you're talking about how big to make this, the color and the iris and the pupil, as opposed to the sclera, which is the white part, imagine the eyeball in the eye socket there, and then let's just say that's the iris with the color in it, or the whatever. It can fit about 3 across. That's a very general, approximation. And then the same thing goes for the iris inside that right here, the black part. You can fit almost 3 of those across the iris itself. Sorry, did I just say the iris? Sorry, the pupil. The pupil right here, you can fit 3 across the iris. I hope that made sense. Okay, sorry about that, I misspoke. So, anyways, let's kind of keep moving. Is there any other rule? I can't really think of any other just quick review rule. All right, then, let's move into different types of eyes in general. Let me switch to the mechanical pencil. So because of that general type I talked about, those peaks, you can fluctuate that. You can make them a little bit squintier and longer. That is something that I like to do personally. I know when I draw faces, generally what happens too much is I start drawing my own face into it, because you look at the mirror every day, you start to draw your own features in it to fill in the gaps that you might have. And that can be good and or bad. It might be good because you're like, oh, that really looks like a person, but then bad because then you'll start noticing they'll kind of look like you, and it's kind of creepy and weird. But apparently everybody has that a little bit, supposedly. Um, but I like drawing squinty there as more often. I have more bigger eyes. I'm actually trying to get away from that because I like larger eyes, but you know, make it very almost anime shaped. A lot of them have to be large in proportion to the head. Not all of them, of course, but a decent amount of them. And let's just make this a female eye. We accentuate the eyelashes. And the pupil here will be humongous on this eye. And just start playing with those proportions. When you play with those proportions, you might come up with a lot of stuff you never thought you'd do. You know, maybe put that small as well, the pupil in the middle of the iris. And then, how long would you make these eyelashes? Would they be like how like are you gonna throw eyelashes down here on the bottom of the eye as well? So you can do that. And the thing is, there wouldn't be anything wrong with that. It's just that would be your particular choosing. I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd call that particularly style. It might. I guess it is style. It's up to you to decide. Let's say we draw another eye over here. And again, we're just focusing on one eye. We're not going to do a set of eyes. Probably do a whole other video for that. In terms of like distances between the eyes. If you look at Jim Lee eyes, they're all kind of like this. They're all very, they're very like square. You know, it's almost like just a rectangle box sometimes. Look at Marvel comics from the 90s or even DC comics from the, like look at just comics from the 90s and you're going to see a lot of that as well. We'll make that smaller here. I'm not a big fan of the eyelid as too often. I mean, sometimes I do. It depends, but depending on how big you can draw it, it can make your character look kind of drowsy. But you know, some people have more eyelid in general. I think I do personally. Put an eyebrow over here, and it's just going to be more of a line. I like to where it kind of meets the center of the head here, or not meets, right? It's not a unibrow, but with the eyebrow, I like to give a little bit more volume over here to where the closer it gets to the center of the face. And I just think it anchors that shape there, and I think it looks pretty for any particular eye. So if we draw another one over here, let's just say that's the eye, and I'll get to that right now. But my eyebrows, because eyebrows are so generic already. I mean, it's just like a line. You know, I'm actually working more on creating like a little decorative shape, and go through cartoons that you like, especially. I would say especially different anime actually. Things like if you go to Berserk and stuff like some of their eyebrows are really they have a lot of character in them. You know, they'll throw this other flair over here. So in some cases, it's an exaggeration. In some cases, it's you know, just kind of cool. I'm trying to think of what else. Manga. Some of the more simpler ones is usually just a line, or just a really big thick line. If you look at stuff like Adventure Time, you know, maybe that's not the best thing to look at. But I would literally go through different anime screenshots. They have a lot of different shapes to theirs, actually. Or again, American comics, things like that. What else? There is another thing that I tend to do. And another thing I do is I like connecting the eyebrow sometimes with value to the eye. So if I have like an eye over here, it's the middle of the eye, the center of the eye, let's get closer to the center of the face, I mean. And let's just say someone's looking over, they're all looking over here somewhere. I'll add a value from the eye, from the eyebrow to the inner portion of the eye. So I'll do something like this, and I've seen this a lot in animation. And it won't necessarily make it look mean or anything either. It connects it so that the eye itself is not just a floating island out there. And again, it depends kind of how the rest of the drawing comes together. It's up to you kind of how you do that. But I personally like that in illustrations, to connect the eyebrow to the eye. I think it's really a cool look, and I like it quite a bit. And then also I even add a little bit of cast shadow from the eyelid onto the sclera. Sclera is that white part of your eye. I add a little bit of shadow, so I make that line a little bit thicker, and it's not inherently feminine either, because you do have to be careful about that. If you thicken the upper line, it can kind of make some of your male characters look a little bit feminine, so just be aware to control that stuff. It's very similar to like when you have a character and you're trying not to put lines in their face, and it might age them, it might like make them look older. So there's that little balancing act, like, oh, he looks too old. I'll give you a quick example really fast. Have you guys ever watched the Batman animated series from 1992, or it's a really famous series, and when they changed the designs to that show, I think in 90, I think it was in 92, right? 94? I think it was 94 maybe. And then I think around 98 they remade their designs to make them a little bit more sleeker. What they did was, I think with Superman, when Superman came out on the Justice League cartoon, the early ones, they put these two huge lines from his cheekbone down to his chin area, and they wanted to make him look more rugged, but in actuality that made him look just older, in my opinion, way older. And that's because those characters were so streamlined already. Adding any line will just age him, and that was literally like I think 2 lines extra, and he just looked like an old dude, and I was like, this is weird. So just kind of be aware of when you're doing that stuff with eyelashes. Kind of like I said, that balancing act of them maybe looking overly feminine or not, or like I said, if they are feminine, maybe you can thicken up a little bit, and that's up to you as well. Like how thick of I don't know what to put in there. Eyeshadow. Eyeshadow's up here, right? Sorry. I know very little about makeup, and I need to learn about that stuff for this stuff. So I know what I'm saying when it comes to that. But so you can kind of thicken that up, and let's go crazy with it. Let's just experiment, right? Like how nuts can you make this thing? How to the point where it won't, like, how it gives it kind of a cool look actually if you extend it. Remember where it's coming out from. Keep in line that line over here. We look like some sort of princess or something like that, or but toy with the length of different things as well. So, and I'm not going to go over expression this time. I'm going to make another video about expression of the eyes, but that'll probably be the next video. But those are just a few things. I hope you got any little bit out of that. I really do. If you got anything out of that, please click that like button. Let's throw that line in there. Let's throw a decorative eyebrow in there. Please hit that like button. Also, click the subscribe button. I'm going to go over expressions of eyes pretty soon, and then I'm going to go over maybe 2 eyes and kind of the spaces between that and kind of how that can affect the way the character looks like. And then I'm going to go into other features like the nose and the mouth and things like that. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you watching. I'm very, very grateful for everyone watching. It's been an amazing ride. I think I'm almost at 90,000 followers and subscribers, and it has been like just an amazing 4 years, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the comments you guys give me on my Instagram, and just like so many nice people that I've met through the years through this, and that's pretty much it. I just thought I'd voice that. I don't really voice that a lot, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.